Great to see you here again. My name is Luc de Koster, founder of the Koster Academy, and in this video we're going to look at the principles of stakeholder management. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. So let's start with defining what stakeholder management is. When we look at stakeholder management, the first thing we have to deal with is to create the stakeholder management plan. And here we will describe the principles that we have to follow when we are managing stakeholders. We create the entire tool set, the way to deal with it, questions, previous information that we have. All these things are part of that plan. The next step is to manage stakeholders' engagement. And here we want to identify what their actual engagement is and what is the engagement that we want to achieve. And finally, we have to control how the stakeholder engagement is working out and how can we improve it. Now, when we look at planned stakeholder management, here we look at the appropriate management strategies that we are going to use to effectively engage stakeholders. We have to consider their needs, interests, and their potential impact on the project success. The result of planned stakeholder management is an actionable plan on how to interact with the different stakeholders. We identify how the project will affect the stakeholders, and we create and maintain a relationship with the stakeholders. Emotional intelligence is very important here. You have to communicate with the stakeholders in a way that they are interested, that you create a relationship with them, and that you create trust. The planned stakeholder management provides the desired and current engagement levels of the stakeholders, the scope and impact of change to the different stakeholders. We look at the identified interrelationships and overlap we have between the different stakeholders. We look at the stakeholder communication requirements for the phase, the different phases, or for the entire project. We look at the information that has to be distributed, the reason for the distribution, and the expected impact of the information that we share on the attitude and the decisions of the stakeholders. Time frame and frequency of the distribution. So when are we going to send the plan? When do we have the meetings? All these things are in fact important for the stakeholders. We also have to identify, or we have to have a method for updating and refining the stakeholder management. So we have to see what is going good, what is going bad, and then we have to deal with it. We look at the stakeholder engagement. The process of stakeholder engagement is about the application of the engagement plan during project execution. We will communicate with the stakeholders to meet their needs and expectations. We address issues and problems, and we actively work on the stakeholder involvement. We try to get the stakeholders really involved in the project so that we can guarantee a successful output. The project manager has a goal to increase support for the stakeholders or from the stakeholders and reduce their resistance to the project. So we will have to see that some stakeholders may have a negative attitude towards the project, but in some cases, we have to improve that. We try to get the stakeholders to have a more positive approach. We look at the stakeholder management, which includes actions, like effectively engaging the stakeholders. We have to manage the expectations. We have to address risks related to stakeholders and clarify and resolve those different issues that we may have. The last element that we do is control stakeholder engagement. Here we have, in fact, a process about monitoring the relationship and tailoring the strategies. We see what we planned, what we obtained, and we see what the gap is we do a gap analysis and we try to find out how can we improve these things or these different actions to have a better stakeholder engagement. We have essential information here about the efficiency of the stakeholder management, and of course we try to identify ways to improve it. Now the thing is that all these processes are repeated regularly during the project. It's one of the elements we defined about frequency, but we have changes in stakeholders, we have adjustments, people change, some parts of the project, some people are not interested in that part, they may be interested in another part, and so on. So basically that was it about stakeholder management. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye-bye.